Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Tentative Tarot. Today we are going to be looking at predictions for your month of June. So first we will look at an overarching energy for the month, and then we will use the tarot to look at 3 different areas of your life, and we will actually decide what areas of your life to look at in each pile, so stay tuned for that. But then we will just wrap things up with a super attractor card. So if that sounds good to you, let's go ahead and look at your pile options for today. For pile 1, we've got this Aquamarine. For pile number 2, this piece of Amazonite that it doesn't want to focus on. And for pile number 3, this piece of pink opal. Okay, so if you need more time to decide, go ahead and pause the video here. Once you have decided, go ahead and scroll down to the description box or the pinned comments where you'll find the timestamps. You can click on the link that matches the pile that you chose, and I will see you in your reading. Hi pile 1. If you chose this Aquamarine, welcome to your reading. To start with, we are going to look at this card as well as a couple other pre-shuffled oracle cards to get a sense of your overarching energy for the month of June. And then we're going to use tarot to look at 3 different areas of your life where there are just different things that you can focus on or expect in the month ahead. To figure out which areas of life we're going to look at, we are going to actually roll this 12-sided die to see which astrological houses we will be checking out. But let's save that for after we look at these overarching cards, okay? So the first card, the one that you chose your pile for, is Empathic Starseed, Energetic Sovereignty, Absorbing What's Not Yours. Then we have, if it'll focus, number 20, Success with Peppermint. And finally we have Blue Kyanite and Honeysuckle with the Sword of Truth, Freedom, Warrior of Light, Stop Holding Yourself Back. Alright, give me just 1 second to center those. That'll do. Okay, so what do I see for your overarching energy for the month of June? The first thing I see for you is just immense clarity. And that could be, you know, in an empathic sense that you're like recognizing what isn't yours, like literally as the card is saying, but it certainly doesn't have to be that. But it almost feels like, I'm thinking of how it feels to like smell peppermint, and it kind of like wakes your brain up, right? I'm seeing you sort of like, oh, okay, I can see things infinitely more clearly than I'm used to seeing them. And I think what that's doing is allowing you to set boundaries that you need to set, right? Like free yourself of certain situations. It certainly feels, or it feels less though like you're making a bunch of changes. You're leaving relationships or leaving a job or telling somebody off or something like that. I mean, it could be, of course. I mean, do what makes sense for you. But it doesn't necessarily feel like that. It feels more focused on your own experience of enlightenment and how that allows you to show up differently in the world. Like, I actually see, instead of so much like you like leaving certain relationships or situations, I actually see relationships being more successful for you. And that can be any kind of relationship, of course. But with this success, like I'm thinking of you being able to engage in different ways in the world because of this clarity you have that allows you to have more success. And I mean, you can think about that in a career success, like traditionally understood kind of way. And certainly, I mean, take that message if it resonates. But I'm getting more so like you're able to have relationships, again, any kind, all kinds, that match what you want them to be, because you're able to see things clearly, take charge of your own energy, sort of take a step back from the mirror just enough to recognize what's yours and what somebody else's, right? And then show up with more power and more authenticity because you know what's yours. It honestly feels, like I said, I mean, I know with like this sort of truth and this like intensity, like absorbing what's not yours, like it could feel heavy, or it could feel intense, or it could feel kind of Queen of Swords, like cutting people off and setting firm boundaries. And maybe it'll be that again, but that's not really what I'm seeing. I'm actually seeing this like sweet, relaxing energy where it's like, because of this immense clarity that you have, you're able to relax into the relationships in your life. So that's lovely. Yeah, let's leave those messages there and let's roll this die to find out which 3 astrological houses it'll help you the most to hear about this month. So before I do, just for those who are not familiar, and I am not an astrologer, right? I am just astrology enthusiastic. But my understanding is basically that people talk more so about signs, and signs are like energy or personality or style of doing things, like internal motivations, whereas the houses are the actions, like the external manifestations of different energies. So I'm going to talk less about like the energy or like personality that you hold, right? And more so, as we're doing kind of a June predictions, what areas of your life do you most need messages about for the month of June? So let's go ahead and roll this and find out which ones we're going to look at. We've got the 3rd house. Again, well, we could do 2, but let's see if we get something else. 7, okay. Ooh, it tried to show 12. Will it come back? 9. Okay, so we'll do 3, 7, 9. Okay, so got 3 different decks to use. So for the 3rd house, the topics that we usually see, we look at in the 3rd house, are things to do with communication, the media, learning, teaching, reading, writing, anything to do with language, a fascination with language or communication. We also see immense curiosity, following those threads, as well as surprise, right? Because of that, because we're kind of following our curiosity and seeing where it leads. So the question that I have picked out for the 3rd house for the month of June is, what is most likely to surprise you this month? So for pile number 1, what is most likely to... Everything is most likely to surprise you this month. That, you know what, the deck behaving that way makes me wonder whether... Oops, some of them are upside down. Makes me wonder whether what's going to be surprising for you this month will be quite surprising. Like, will really be something that really shakes you. It feels like in a good way, but I'm gonna just hold the cards closer to me and try to make them behave. Okay, for pile number 1. What is most likely to surprise you this month? Okay. I think what's most likely to surprise you this month is the peace that you find with others, but especially when I say your family. And now this could be like parents, siblings, older relatives, something like that. This could be your like partner and your own children. This could be chosen family. Take what resonates for you. But I see you just with this immense sense of peace and relaxing into, I have enough, I am enough, there is going to be enough. I can just relax and enjoy like the simple things in life. And I think not only that, but I think the way in which like that time spent with others, with your nervous system really relaxed, and you able to just like soak up that time, whether that's like on vacation or on the weekends or just, you know, in little stolen moments with the people that you love most, that immense sense of like relaxation and life is good, that is also going to do a lot for you and like your own sense of self, I want to say. Like often with this hermit, right, I know we talk a lot with the hermit about like being alone, and maybe that's true, but I'm actually not getting that so much here. But there's this sense that like the lantern they're holding is like, because they're alone, they're able to see like that any light that's present is theirs, right? So I think what I'm seeing here is you feeling like your own energy glows. So like the way that these like layers are kind of coming off of this card. I just saw 1333 in case repeating threes are meaningful to anybody. I don't know if you can tell, but like these like energies around this frog, I mean, it's making me think of like an aura or something. It's like there's so much coming off of this frog, which I see as you, and like this, it's like your energy really lighting up, and it feels like you being really aware of it. So like less that you're spending time alone, but more so like the hermit representing like you being aware of your own gifts, your own glow, in whatever way that is. But it feels like you're able to kind of see that more clearly because your nervous system feels so soothed, and you're able to really relax and like be in the moment and bask in the moment, and like, I need nothing more than this present moment right now kind of energy with the people that you love most or trust most. But like that sense of safety, of enough, of the present moment is all I need, feels like it's going to help you show up with a lot of confidence in the month of June, in a really internal, like self-valuing way. And so what might be surprising is, like I said, like that you're able to do this, to feel this good. What might be surprising is how clearly you see your own gifts and your own glow, right? Or it could be like, the surprise could be like how investing in this kind of calm, quiet time with these people that you love could have this impact on you sort of on accident, if you will, because this doesn't feel like time alone in some intense like healing way. I mean, it can be, of course, like claim that if it's meaningful to you. Yeah, it doesn't feel like deep shadow work. It feels really, really light, and it feels like it's happening almost on accident, you know? So that certainly might be why it's surprising. You'll have to take it in the way that resonates for you, but that's what I see there. So the next one we had was the 7th house, which I remember tried to turn into the 12th house. So for the 7th house, traditionally, famously, the house of marriage, the point of the 7th house is to talk about relationships where like we all need people in our lives to show us things that we can't see for ourselves, right? So finding people that we deem as equals, that we trust, that we know are invested in staying with us for the long haul, right? So not only like romantic partner or partners, right? But also like very, 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 very close friends. These are the people that we trust, that we listen to, even if we don't want to hear it, and vice versa. But we're walking a path together. We're loving and supporting each other in whatever way. And therefore we're willing to hear and share equally with each other, right? And receive feedback both ways, so that we can reach kind of a greater whole together. So the question that I had for the 7th house is, what significant person or people are about to enter your life. But it's interesting that it kind of turned into the 12th house, and I won't go into that now. But the question I had here is like, how can you deepen your sense of oneness or connectedness? So I wonder if what we should look at, what we should ask the cards, is like how to deepen your sense of oneness or connectedness with the people that you are closest to right now, or just with the energies you want to bring in. So like along the lines of like who is coming into your life next, how can you deepen those feelings of connection to whomever you're calling it? Okay, so for pile 1, we've got the Moon and the 3 of Swords. And the keyword here, this deck has like the keywords on the bottom, I believe it's Thoth based, is sorrow. So again, I'm not getting like heavy messages off of this. It certainly could be, but thinking about deepening your sense of oneness or connectedness here, I actually feel you like really compassionately seeing the heartbreak and emotional turmoil of one person or multiple people that you love the most, right? If you already have somebody in your life that you're in a relationship with, or very close, if this resonates more with a very close friend, of course, take it that way as well. I'm thinking about what we saw up here with like absorbing what's not yours and like having this clarity. I think what's going to happen for you in the month of June is that you're going to be able to see which emotions are theirs, which emotions are yours, what you might accidentally be taking on, and the places where either like you've been taking on their pain, but also where perhaps like your accidental absorption of their energy has been causing you to tell stories that cause sorrow. And that's not at all to blame you, right? Like when we emotionally feel other people's pain without knowing that we're doing it, which many of us do, our mind tries to make up stories, even subconsciously, to make sense of that, right? Whether that's within ourselves or between us and other people that we love. So that's not all to blame you. Your body is doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? But I think because of this clarity you're getting, what's happening here is that you're able to actually like pull these swords out, is what I see, and like do some emotional healing. But again, it feels light. I don't feel like this deep shadow work. It's almost like these swords fall out and you're like, oh, okay. Like I don't feel like it's magically okay, but I also feel like you're sort of able to sit with this. I like almost see you sitting in darkness really, really, really calmly. Like you're like, oh, okay, great. Like I'm not telling these stories anymore, and I'm not like rushing to replace it with other stories. I'm just allowing myself to be in this feeling of calm, in my own like energetic sovereignty, as we saw up here. Yeah, like comfortable with what is. So that could definitely be what's going on. If we're looking at it more in a sense of like who is likely to come into your life, I think what we're seeing here is like somebody that's doing healing work. And so, I mean, maybe this person is coming into your life as a friend or as a romantic potential interest, or maybe you're feeling their energy. And I think either way, it's wonderful that your focus here, like the message we got for the overall month of June, is like for you to feel really clear, because I think you're ready to interact with, if that is what happens, whether it's just their energy or them actually like manifesting in your life, you're ready to deal with somebody who has their own stuff and their own healing and their own sorrows that they're sorting through, because you'll know that it's not yours, right? So it's like somebody that you're able to say, like I almost see you here like looking up at the moon and saying like, I trust you to care for the heart of this person and help them heal in the way that you've done for me, so that I don't need to take this on for myself. And this could be a beautiful experience for you, especially if you are an empath and you're somebody who in the past has wanted to heal people, to have an experience where you're close to somebody, again, whether romantically or as a friend, where you can be close to somebody who you know has a lot of stuff, or has had their heart broken, or has a lot of sorrow that they're in the process of sorting through, and you don't feel like it's yours to take on. I am getting a strong message that it might be an energetic connection more than like one manifested physically. And some people hate to hear that, so ignore this. If that doesn't resonate for you or you don't want to hear that, ignore it. It's not for you. I don't wish things on people that they do not wish for themselves, right? But if that's the case, I think the message coming through here is actually just that your heart feels really open, and that you're maybe feeling these moments, and maybe it brings up stuff for you to heal for yourself. But again, I don't feel that in a terribly heavy way. I actually feel like you being connected to the heart of somebody else, feeling immense compassion, and like sending them love and releasing it. And again, if that's something maybe that you haven't done or practiced a lot, maybe that's something that you will do or practice in the month of June, is feeling emotional connection to someone, whether you know them or not, and holding that with love, with tenderness, with nurture, and then releasing it and knowing that like they are going to do their healing work, or they are in process of doing their healing work. And yes, of course, the two of you are connected, but you don't have to, be in charge of healing them, and you also don't have to like have up crazy strong boundaries against them. You can just allow that to be. I also keep thinking of how like the moon card comes right before the sun card, right? Where there's this like joy and happiness. So it feels like this, like, okay, this spiritual connection that exists right before there is like authenticity and joy and connection and like basking in the sunlight like we had over here. So it's also possible that like all of June won't be like in this moon energy. I feel like I'm crooked and it's making me nuts. Okay. Sorry. I don't know why I needed to interrupt myself just then for that. Anyway, what I was saying was, I don't know that all of the month of June will be in this moon energy. It could be, but I wonder whether it's like, what's most important for you to know about relationship is this information. But that doesn't mean you won't have lots and lots of time to have joy, to like bask in the sun with this person or these people in the month of June. And perhaps like balancing them both is something that will come up for you in the month of June, where it's like, oh, sometimes I feel this energy from them coming from a place of their pain. I don't need to take it on. I can be really clear about it. And that allows me to like be in this energy. And so maybe that's what surprises you. I don't know. Take whatever of those messages that resonate you wish, but that's a really interesting message coming through. Okay, so finally let's look at the 9th house. So for the 9th house, we see, travel, adventure, higher education, philosophy, religion, these kinds of things. Often there's this desire for a deeper sense of meaning in life, usually through experience, right? So we travel and we learn and find things out about ourselves, about others, about life, about the way that the world works, right? Whether consciously or not. But we have this desire and drive to experience kind of that which is outside of ourselves, to mix up our routine. And that ends up aligning us more with a sense of meaning in life. So the question that I have for you for the month of June is, what adventures will be the most meaningful this month? And you can take adventures in whatever way. You could actually go on a for real big adventurous trip or something like that. But you can also adventure in very small ways. You can do what one of my very, very dear friends and I do and go on quote unquote mini adventures where we try new restaurants, or go out and just do whatever feels exciting to us in the moment together. And it can also be like adventures in spirituality. It can be new ways of thinking, new life philosophies that you're exposed to. It certainly could be higher education and learning, but it would need to be something that, again, like kind of shakes up the way that you see the world. So for pile 1, for the month of June, what adventures will be the most meaningful? The King of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. The first message that's coming through here is a strong sense of altruism. So I don't know whether you're going to go on some sort of trip to do relief work or something like that. Whether you do like specific volunteer work, I could definitely see that. I also see very tangible, like helping people with things. So it could be that your friend calls you out of nowhere and they're like, oh my gosh, like last minute, I have to move out of my house in 48 hours. Can you come help me pack or something like that? And you kind of pause and say, you know what? Yes, like I have the time, the resources, the energy, whatever it is, a truck to help them move. And you go and you spend time doing that with somebody else. So I think it will be something that is either not planned or something that does feel like a bit of a stretch, like you're going somewhere farther away or something like that. I don't think it'll be like routine, like altruistic volunteer work. I don't think. It could also be something where you take on an unexpected leadership role in a group or a community that matches something I was describing. So if you're involved in something religiously, spiritually, philosophically, or like in a institution of higher education, if you will, you could be taking on more of a leadership role there. And that will be a gift for other people. Like you using your time, your skills, your gifts will really help others. But I think regardless, there's this sense that the meaning is coming. Like regardless of what actually happens for you, the meaning is coming through you recognizing like how much you have to give and having the opportunity to share it and have that be valued and received. Yeah, and I don't know whether, like I'm almost getting the message that what's important and sort of meaningful for you is like, I do think people are going to really appreciate what you're doing here, but I don't know that they're going to like directly thank you for it. They might, but I actually think the deeper meaning, like I'm getting the sense the deeper meaning is coming through for you as like you recognize how much you have to share and like how good that feels to know that you have that. So thinking of the 9th house, actually, this could be like deep wisdom that you have to share. It doesn't have to be that, of course, but it could be that you have deep wisdom, or also just that you have resources or whatever it is. Maybe like you have friends that are going on a trip to do some kind of relief work that you weren't planning to go on, but you happen to speak the language of the country that your friends are going to, and therefore like you have this gift to offer. I don't know, but there's something where part of the meaning for you is recognizing what a valuable skill or skill set you have and how that can be of service to others. So that's really exciting. I don't necessarily see you like learning during the month of June, like building up a particular skill set. I mean, of course you might, but it's more so this like, oh, like through these surprising experiences, I've recognized how much I already had. And I mean, it's the King of Pentacles, right? It's like the highest, if you will, court card in that minor arcana suit. So there's a sense of like, wow, like I have so much more to offer. I have mastered this in a sense, in a way that I really didn't realize or didn't expect. And like what a joy it is to offer that to people who need it. So that's lovely. And I don't necessarily think it's connected directly to either of these messages, although it could be. But a thought I'm having, right, is like, it's probably even easier to do this or to have this recognition or to create this meaning because of this like overarching clarity you're getting. Because you know what's yours and what belongs to other people, that like allows you to like stand more clearly in your own energy and see yourself more clearly, right? And I'm going back to this idea of success. None of this necessarily is pointing to, again, like vocational success or something like that. Although again, please take that message if that resonates for you. But what I do see here is like you recognizing how much you have to offer and how good it feels to give, right? And that feels like a whole lot of success in a particular way for you in certain kinds of relationships, right? Here, I feel you able to have a lot of clarity about what belongs to you and what belongs to somebody else. And that probably feels like a whole lot of success and softness and able to like relax into relationship in a way that maybe was hard in the past. And here, I feel you really like, again, soothing your nervous system, relaxing, and seeing how good that makes you feel and how much, again, like you're able to recognize what a beautiful person you are, what gifts you have, what light you bring to the world. Both sides of that feel incredibly successful to me. So that just feels like lovely, soft energy, like a lot going on that could be heavy, but it does not feel heavy. It feels clear and peaceful, and like you're able to, in the midst of whatever happens, whatever like ups and downs each day and the month overall has in it, you're able to have a like strong inner core sense of peace, of like smooth sailing, I keep wanting to say, through the ups and downs, over the bumps in the water, because you just have this deep sense of inner peace and clarity on who and what you are. So pile number one, that's amazing. We're gonna close out with a super attractor message, something for you to take away as you enter the month of June. And we've got directing my focus onto what's thriving creates more of what I want. So that's beautiful, and that feels like a lovely way to wrap this up. You're focusing on what's thriving, whether that's you, your own energy, how much you've built up, whether that's your own work and the boundaries you've created around it within yourself, right? Whether that's time spent with loved ones, feeling your nervous system really relaxed. But regardless, as you focus on what is going well, what feels good to you, what soothes your nervous system, what helps you feel that sense of smooth sailing, it creates not only more of that same sense, but it allows your relationships to flourish more and for your life to have more of what you want. So that is beautiful. I think those are all of the messages that I see here for you, pile one. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. If you would like to like, comment, subscribe, share, I would appreciate any support you want to give. But regardless, I hope you take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye. Hi, pile two. If you chose the Amazonite, welcome to your reading. So we're going to get started by looking at this card that you chose, as well as a couple other pre-shuffled oracle cards to get a sense of your overall energy for the month of June. And then we are going to look at some tarot to consider 3 different areas of your life that you might need some guidance or some messages on as you approach the month of June. We are going to decide which areas of life to look at by rolling this 12-sided die, and considering what numbers come up, we will look at those astrological houses. And for those who are not astrology fluent, and I mean, I'm not an astrologer, but I'm, astrology enthusiastic. But for those who don't know, signs are what most people talk about, and those are like energies or personalities or ways of being, whereas the houses are the actual actions, the areas of life where things actually happen. So we will look at 3 areas based on what comes out for you when we roll the die, and then we'll close out with a super attractor. But let's go ahead and get started and see what your overarching energy will be for the month of June. So first we have I'm sorry, defenselessness, righting past wrongs, uprooting. Next we have number 38 with hope, and it's daffodil. I love how I struggled to read that, but I could have like looked at the picture. I know what a daffodil looks like. And finally we have, if it'll focus, gold and apple, rewriting, Queen Code's Her Story, healing distortion. Okay. So these energies for overall for your month of June go beautifully with the Amazonite and the green candle that I chose for you guys. I don't know tons about crystals, but I do know that at least my experience of this particular piece of Amazonite particularly, it does a lot for me to help me feel emotionally balanced, especially in my heart space. And the green candle makes me think of the heart chakra. So either way, I do think your main message here is one of healing. It doesn't feel like deep shadow work or something though, although of course if that's meaningful to you, you know, take that message. But that's not what I'm feeling here. I'm feeling deep healing, and probably with someone or something or multiple people. I am feeling this is not necessarily something that's only happening for you on your own, although again, if that message resonates, take that. But I think for most of you, the month of June will focus on or center on, or a lot of your energy will go towards the rebuilding of hope. And I mean, when I think of a daffodil, right, I think of, you know, that being one of the first flowers that comes out in the spring. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, like the triumph of hope, right? Like over darkness. And then also like whispers of the rest of spring and summer yet to come. Right? So I'm getting the sense that things are going to happen to help increase your hope, and or because of the hope that you already carry, you're going to see things change around you and opportunities to rewrite your story. Again, I'm not necessarily seeing you do a ton of this on your own. I bet in order to do this in the month of June, you've already done a lot of this work. So hopefully that'll help you know if this resonates. But I think it's like whatever stories you've been telling, you've done the work to see where those were distortions, and to, you know, straighten your crown and to recognize who you are and what the mirrors in your life are actually showing you, or where those mirrors are distorted and have reflected things back to you that weren't yours or weren't true, or both. It's possible you'll want to apologize to people in the month of June, but I'm not necessarily seeing that. It's also possible that people will apologize to you, and I think that's more likely. But what I think is interesting here is this idea of uprooting. Like, I was really drawn to that word and to this image, right? It's honestly making me think of when I've done, I haven't done cord cutting, but I've done cord pulling. And that's what it's reminding me of, is like when I've taken the time to pull cords, less to like deeply detach from any particular person, although again, that's fine if that's what people are doing, but more so to like help me have healthier styles of attachment. I find that for the most part with the cords that I have that are really intense, it's because there was something about my relationship with that person that was like filling a void for me. And so by pulling it and giving myself space to heal, it's less that I'm like getting rid of that person and trying to banish their energy from me. I mean, sometimes, but it's usually not so much of that. And it's much more so like me learning how to care for those spaces within myself. And my eye is being drawn to, I don't know if you can tell, but there are like two faces here, like with those roots in between. I hope that's picking up on camera. But it feels like this, like, okay, like by doing this work and making amends together in whatever way that looks like, we're able to make space to start anew and see each other again and have a more solid foundation. So again, that could be like, if you have somebody in particular in mind, that could be who we're talking about here. If there's somebody you have in mind but you don't really want to interact with them, of course, like take this message as something that you can do on your own, that maybe the month of June will be something where you do whatever healing and forgiveness work you need to do for you, without interacting with this person or these people. I also got the message for some of you, and I don't think this is most of you. I actually think for most of you, it really will be with somebody or multiple people in your life, like actively making amends with them. But I did get the message that for some of you, this is actually you connecting with the divine or spirit or the universe or spirit guides or something like that. And not that you need to say sorry to them or something, but just this kind of place where you are welcoming them more deeply into you. Kind of uprooting, if you will, the parts of yourself that have been afraid to connect deeply, afraid to trust, all of those things. If that resonates for you, please take that. I definitely have been there. I've had moments, and even where I've said I'm sorry to God or to whomever, knowing that that wasn't even needed from me, but just being so sad that I hadn't been able to trust. And I say that like it's in the past. I had a big emotional moment around that in the past, but definitely there are days where this happens. There are moments where this happens throughout any day, right? So it's not like we just decide to trust and then everything is fine. But I do wonder if for you there is this moment of like deeper, like, oh, okay, like I don't have to defend against the divine or my guides, or just basically the energy that's here trying to support and help me. And even though I said that's like a message maybe just for a few of you, of course, like even if you have other healing with other real 3D people out there during the month of June, of course, if that message resonates, take that as well. But yeah, I think that's all I'm seeing for the overarching message. So let's go ahead and roll this die 3 times and see, 1111, just saw on the camera timer for anybody that's meaningful for. But anyway, let's go ahead and see what 3 areas you most need to hear about for the month of June. Okay, we got number 4 for the 4th house, 6, and 9. Okay, oops, it turned to 10, curious. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. So 4, 6, and 9/10. All right, so we're going to go in that order. I've got a different tarot deck for each of them. So give it a little shuffle, and then we'll talk about the 4th house. Okay, so the 4th house, sometimes associated with the sign of Cancer, if you're more familiar with that, and that helps. But it is the place where we would talk about your sense of feeling safe and at home. That could be literal physical structure or structures. It could be locations in the world. It could be humans. It could be humans that you call family, whether chosen family or by blood. But anything that feels safe and familiar. It's a deep sense of self-care. Sometimes, totally alone and almost like in your shell, in your cocoon. And sometimes like with those like very, very, very dear people to you, who help you feel that sense of immense safety. So the question that I have for the 4th house for you for this month is, how best can you nurture yourself this month? And the cards we have are the 8 of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. The message that's coming through right away for me of how you can best nurture yourself is to find out, admit to yourself, acknowledge, and begin to manifest or identify or build the things that make you feel the most safe and nurtured. I'm getting the sense that there are things either actively in your life or past stories or both that have been holding you back and maybe making you feel like you can't nurture yourself and getting you confused about, like, I want to say, like, what your heart most deeply needs to feel safe. So there's, like, in the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, right, it's this sense that because her hands are free, she can take off this blindfold, right, and then there's like a small trickle of water on the ground and she can follow that, and that would represent her emotions, and it would help free her and clear up some of this like mental caging here. But like this coming out as a how you can best nurture yourself, I do think it's to take these things off and follow that water. But I'm getting this strong message that for whatever reason feels really unsafe. So there are stories that you have or situations you're in, again, or both, that are making you feel like you don't want to take all these wrappings off and see what your heart needs because that's too scary. So then this Ace of Pentacles is representing for you a really, really, really beautiful, safe place that you're being offered, or that you can offer yourself, or probably some combination. It feels like a co-creation or like a recognition of what's coming or what's here. But you really finding and embracing the space, the time, the people, whatever it is, where you feel deeply safe. And really focusing on that so that, whether in the month of June or just in the future, you feel safe to take these wrappings and this blindfold off and listen to what your heart wants. But feel really grounded first. So yeah, I think the best way to nurture yourself in the month of June is to take really like grounded physical, right? It's pentacles, like grounded action to feel safe in the world. And this could be like a use of your time, like spending more time at home or something like that. It could also be, I mean, I don't actually get this energy from most of you, but just as an example, right? Like moving to a safer neighborhood or a safer home or something like that. Moving in with a friend you feel really safe with, or out of an unsafe situation into a new space, something like that. But I'm getting more so for a lot of you, it actually might be more to do with like, what things can I do to soothe my nervous system so that I feel safe in the situations that are already here. So whether that's like taking more time to just nurture your own body, to listen to its cues, to sleep when you're tired, to eat when you're hungry, right? Things like that. I wonder if it is really that basic. I'm also even in the sense that it might be like little pampering things. So like taking the time or a day or an evening or whatever, not going out on a Friday or Saturday night if you typically do, and like painting your nails or having a bath, right? Or getting yourself flowers, but things that are really like physical and that you can see and that will like remind you that you're worth taking care of and being made safe. Yeah, and like your pleasure matters, I want to say. So I think the more you lean into that, the more you see that that is probably the best way to nurture and take care of yourself in the month of June. And again, if that inspires you to take off those wrappings and listen more deeply to your heart, do it. That might well be related to what's happening up here. But if not, that's okay, right? I think the message is like focus on what soothes you and makes you feel just worthy, I think. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the 6th house. Got another deck here. That's making the flame go crazy. I'm gonna shuffle off camera so that we don't have some fire emergencies over here. Okay, so for the 6th house, what we're usually looking at is daily routines, health, also like lineage, so mentorship or teaching things that you have been mentored in, service-oriented actions, right? As well as kind of the day-to-day aspects of your job or your role or something. Anything that would be considered sort of an everyday effort that you make to take care of yourself or to take care of others or to fulfill your responsibilities. And it's often associated with skill building, like I said, like apprenticeship type energy, but that could be about anything, right? Like that could be your trainer at the gym, or things like that. But anyway, the question that I have for you for this month for the 6th house is, how can you infuse more meaning into your daily craft or routine? So let's see for pile number 2. How can you infuse more meaning? Got the 5 of Wands with competition as well as judgment. Okay, so more meaning in your routines or your craft. Okay, listen, right away, something that's coming through is you will actually find more meaning by leaning into quote unquote competition. And I don't know what your relationship to this is, like the energy of competition or the energy of the 5 of Wands in general. I can go back and forth with it myself, but one thing I will say is, I think a really positive read here on the 5 of Wands is to find people who you're inspired by, who you would like to be able to do things as well as them. Or I say people, this could also be like an ideal self or something. Like in my example with the gym, like I would like to be this strong, be able to do this type of thing. I don't know. I don't gym. I should, but I don't. So fill that in if you do gym. But then you're in competition with yourself, right? Like with your own personal best, so to speak. But I get this sense with this judgment card here and seeing this swan, it's making me think of the story of the ugly duckling, right? Essentially, it feels like this. Your whole life, you've thought you were one way. And suddenly you're seeing yourself, seeing your reflection in the water, and you're like, oh, hold on, actually, I'm magnificent. I'm different from what I thought. Better, if you will, because in the ugly duckling, that's what came to my mind. There's this like less than quality, like the duckling was quote unquote ugly according to the other ducks. So there's this sense that you're seeing yourself clearly, and it's like, oh, I've thought I was in competition with these other ducks. Turns out I'm a swan. I'm magnificent. I'm glowing. And I want to say I'm quote unquote better, but I'm better, a couple things. One thing that's coming through is no, of course, swans are not better than ducks in my metaphor here. But there is this sense that if there were people that were telling you you were less than, you are, again, with nuance, better than them in the sense that you did not stoop to that level, or for the most part you didn't. And I think also better in the sense that you're better than what you thought you were. So you were over here thinking, oh, look at them, I'm not as good as them. And it's like, oh, but I'm better than them at this other thing. So it feels like something you could do to find more meaning is maybe lean away from whatever competition you felt with people who actually aren't even in the same lane as you. And lean into instead being competitive with yourself, trying to beat your own personal best at whatever this is. This could be like remembering to brush your teeth every night. Listen, I'm neurodivergent and I'm not out here judging. But whatever it is, big, small, or probably some of both, you have something you're trying to live up to for you. And I see you in the month of June finding meaning by really putting down your concern about what anybody else is doing or has wanted you to do, or has, even just by being themselves but not being in the same lane as you, made you feel like you needed to keep up with them. The month of June feels like this like deep sense of seeing yourself clearly and of then directing this like fire force to improve, to find out what you're actually capable of. It feels directed towards you, towards what you want, holding yourself as the highest ideal, if you will. And of course, if you identify other people who you really admire, it could be that too. And in which case, again, I don't think it's like competition in some kind of problematic sense or that you want to be better than them, but you might want to try to live up to them, right? I feel like there's another message that wants to come through here. I think there is also a piece of like, I keep hesitating and struggling with it because I don't want to like negate the worth of anybody else, right? But there is this message of like how you can find more meaning also is like realizing how fantastic you are. And again, how much like better you are than others that you know at the particular thing or things that matter the most to you. So I'm thinking of like, let's say you're a teacher, right? And maybe you really like or admire, you know, other teachers who do things differently than you do. And there's been a lot of energy you've put towards saying like, oh, like, why can't I teach more like them or connect with students more in the way that they do or get grades entered more efficiently like they do or something like that. And I get the sense that what's happening here, what will give you more meaning is this like looking in the mirror and saying like, oh, I wasn't meant to be a teacher like them. I was meant to be a teacher like this. And then recognizing that in the ways that you are gifted, that you are meant to be a teacher, you shine above the rest. And like this could be something where you put energy then into it. And I think for a lot of you that might well be true. But this message is also coming through of like when you do this, when you look in the mirror, when you see yourself clearly, you'll recognize that you're already winning. Right? Because when you see your own lane, you're like, oh, hang on, like I'm out in front. So this whole time I thought I was behind. And in the month of June, I recognize that actually I'm the front runner, just in a different competition, but a competition that's more meaningful to me. And that might well have you kind of pause and look at your values or look at where your energy is going or things like that. And this could certainly have to do with healing distortion as well, right? This energy could be you really healing the way that you've seen yourself and where your energy was going. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted because I've seen more than one mirroring or repeating number for you. So 2552 as well as 2626 on the camera timer. So if those are meaningful to you, sorry to interrupt myself. I was trying to finish first, but it kept happening. Or it happened twice. Anyway, I think there will be some deep healing for you, but again, it feels like less like shadow work or whatever, and more like you just having the opportunity to look in the mirror. So I don't know whether that's something someone's gonna help you with, or something you're just gonna focus on yourself, or kind of as you lean into soothing your nervous system, you'll be able to do it, or something that's already blooming for you, and this is just confirmation. But regardless, I think you're gonna really change your understanding of how you compare to other people. Yeah, during the month of June. Okay, let's take a look at this last tarot deck I have. I just saw 2727. This is wild. Okay, I don't know if repeating numbers are following you guys around or that's something you want to look out for in June, but that's fascinating. Anyway, we're going to use this deck to talk about the 9th house, and we'll color it a little for the 10th. Okay, so let me just shuffle these and then we'll talk about the 9th house. Okay, so for the 9th house, what we're usually looking at is adventure, travel, higher education, philosophy, religion, any kind of deep learning that's helping you understand the way that the world works, finding deep patterns, and trying to align yourself with that, as well as anything that will shake up your routine, right, and take you out of your day-to-day in a way that, whether intentionally or not, will help you kind of experience life and find patterns across really broad and varied experiences, right? That has this like beautiful Jupiterian energy to it. It's expansive. We're getting to know, we're learning, we're engaging with different belief systems and what feels most aligned to us based on all of our experience. We're looking for deep meaning, right? Like deep meaning. Kind of like, what's the meaning of life? Why am I here? For the 10th house, that's kind of switching us over into Saturnian energy. That is like, what can I put my nose down to and really conquer or achieve, such that now, like, this is my role in society. This is something that I am seen and known for, something that people appreciate, and usually people like outside of my immediate circle, right? Like something that I'm contributing to society in a larger sense. So the question that I had for the 9th house is, what adventures will be most meaningful this month? And for the 10th, it was, how can I more closely align with like my authentic purpose? So I wonder whether it's like, what adventures are most geared toward my authentic purpose? Or like, yeah, kind of like what learning, what experiences are going to help me feel more aligned with my authentic gifts and purpose in the world. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we've got the Magician and we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Amazing. Also, just random sidebar, I just love this Magician. He's like a fairy, and he's got the like normal tarot stuff out here, but then he's doing card tricks. I love it. I haven't ever even looked at like what cards he's got either. Maybe I should do that at some point, but you can feel free to zoom in if that's meaningful to you and find out what this Magician is up to here. But anyway, with the Magician and the Knight of Pentacles, what kind of adventures are you going to take? They're going to help you with more meaning. You know what, the first thing that's coming to mind is, I see you doing, whether it's magic, whether it's manifestation, whether it's engaging in whatever way with the universe, in this magician way, but it feels a bit cheeky to me, and maybe that's why I was like laughing about the cards, but like being really intentional about the way you do that. So I guess, for example, if you're thinking like, oh, I will find more purpose in my life if I can do more, let's say, direct service work, for example, then you think, okay, well, one way to do that is to get this like additional certification, because then in my company, like I'll be seen as, you know, being able to offer this particular service, and I'll be able to like have less of my time spent at a computer and more of my time, right, like one-on-one doing direct service work, for example. I mean, all this totally just a metaphor. Don't feel like you need to resonate with that. But like knowing that, you say, okay, well, that's going to be like a process, right? Like I'm just sign up for this course and like take my time to do it and all of that. Okay, fine. But then like the Magician is here. So like what adventures can help you with that? I see a little bit of this cheeky like, well, I could manifest it. I could manifest it to come faster. I could ask the universe what I need to do to kind of get put in the way of the right people for this. Things like that. Like it doesn't feel like cutting corners, but it does feel like sort of trusting those, like setting the intention for it, right? And then trusting those seemingly impulsive or excited or, I don't know, let's try this, that kind of energy. Trusting that as it comes up, because you know you've set the intention to get put in the right direction of the course that'll make this happen for you, the people that will open these doors for you, the conversations with your boss about this, right? Like the random experiences where maybe you'll find yourself doing direct service work, even though it's outside of your normal description at your job, and then it turns out that that person has having lunch the next day with the boss and tells them how great you did at it or something like that. That's one main message coming through, is kind of be intentional about what it is that you want that will feel more aligned, and then sort of make a deal, if you will, with the universe and open yourself up to like strange inklings that pull you towards those things. I also wonder whether there's something here about more intentionally diving into a sense of trust with the universe, kind of getting clear on what your philosophies are and aligning with them. I just saw 606 on the camera timer, so we continue here with the mirroring. Like I think some kind of similar to what I said over here, if there have been places where you're wanting to improve or deepen your relationship with, again, God, spirit, the universe, the divine, particular ancestors or guides, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, if there's a place where you're deepening that relationship, I wonder whether there's a suggestion here to intentionally do things to build that relationship, and like asking Spirit to show you signs and stuff, right? To help you get clear on that. Because even if that's quote unquote separate from any sort of like alignment you have with job or vocation or whatever that is, I think the more you lean into a strong relationship with whatever it is you believe in, the better and more powerful you'll feel at manifesting a life that is aligned for you. Yeah, there's just a strong message of manifestation here. So like any adventure that you manifest or that feels like it will help you manifest. So I would go in both directions with that. And when I say adventure, that could be anything, right? If you're into like rituals and things like that, even doing them, trying new ones, right? Like that would count as a quote unquote adventure. If you want to try different like meditations that like open your third eye and give you visions, that could be an adventure. Walking around your neighborhood or going for a drive and asking to be shown different number sequences or signs or synchronicities, and then forgetting about it and singing along to your music and then being surprised as it happens. I just saw 808. Listen, the numbers are crazy. So maybe that is something for you. Maybe make a deal with the universe, ask for some synchronicities. If you're not sure of what would align you, right? Like maybe ask for signs that will lead you to that. Like, okay, like show me a number sequence that, you know, like I said, like on a license plate or on a building or something that will help me, show me words on a billboard, things like that will help me know or direct me, or if I look them up on Google or whatever it is, that will help me understand what it is that will bring me into deeper alignment with my, you know, desires, the role I want to have in my future. Yeah, but I can't stop looking at this like magician making things happen. I feel like whatever happens here, like this feels less like advice or a suggestion. It's like, you are this magician, and I don't know whether or not you know that. But I just have this strong like feeling like I need to tell you, like you are this magician. You can make cards float, okay? So whatever it is that you want, yes, like you might need to take methodical steps to get to it, but you can manifest it, and you are manifesting it, and you will manifest it. So whatever's happening here, lean into your ability and your clarity, even if it looks slow, even if you're grounding that manifestation ability in this like methodical way, you're still the magician. Do that. I think it'll bring you immense meaning and absolutely help align you with what it is you want in your future. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up with one of these super attractor cards. They just are little oracle cards that have a message just to kind of encourage you that you are in fact attracting positive energy from the universe. For pile number 2, we've got, I'm not convinced that's not the exact same card that pile 1 got. Fascinating. If only it would focus. Okay. Directing my focus onto what's thriving creates more of what I want. We're gonna get you one more just cause. I don't want you to feel like you're only getting what they got. We've got, I accept the good things come easily. I am a super attractor. Oops. Okay. So again, I mean, I do feel like this, like directing your focus to what's thriving or what you want to thrive, definitely makes sense here to me with this Knight of Pentacles, directing focus in a methodical way. It makes sense to me with this Judgment card, like looking in the mirror clearly, right? Certainly it makes sense with this Ace of Pentacles. So that message absolutely makes sense with all of the messages we've seen here. And then I accept that good things come easily, right? It's like, oh, by simply directing my focus, by recognizing that I'm the magician, things are actually going to come and flow more easily than you believe. Will your life change completely overnight? I don't know, but I do think that your heart is going to massively change and open to hope and to just like a sunnier view of the future during the month of June. And I really think that will be through primarily you shifting your focus. It sounds so easy, and please don't hear that with any kind of shame. Like, how dare you not do it before? It's not meant that way at all. And I know easier said than done often, but I wonder if you say, okay, I will just take 5 minutes to look in the mirror and ask myself who it is I really am and what I really want to be comparing myself to, right? Or if I say to myself, okay, I'm just going to take 5 minutes and say, what does my body actually need right now to feel soothed, to feel beautiful, to feel cared for, to feel safe, right? It's literally that, and making it a habit where you set a timer for 5 minutes every day, if that's all you have, to do one of these things, to align yourself. I think you'll be shocked at how much more hopeful you feel. Yeah. So I think those are all of the messages that I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here and for letting me do this reading for you, Pile 2. I hope you have a wonderful June. If you feel called to like, comment, subscribe, I would love that. But regardless, I just want to send you so much love. I hope the month of June, as I said, is wonderful for you. I hope that you take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose the pink opal, welcome to your reading. We are going to start with some pre-shuffled oracle cards, including the one you chose, to help give us a sense of the overarching energy for your month of June. And then after that, we will use tarot to look at some different areas of life. Before we jump in though, I wanted to say, I'm getting such strong energy off of this orange candle here. It feels like success, celebration, abundance, joy, just good things coming. So I don't know if that's energy that you're currently in or something we can look forward to in June. But I wanted to say that's really interesting with the pink opal, because the pink opal, I believe, is typically a stone of compassion for the self. It has like heart healing or soothing associations, especially after loss or heartbreak. It helps calm anxiety, things like that. So that makes me wonder if this is the energy you're in right now, or have been in, where you've been in this state of doing a lot of healing, and what the month of June is going to bring is a lot of success and celebration for you. So we'll dive in and we'll see, but I wanted to share those messages because they were coming through really strongly as we're starting. Okay, so the card you chose is, if it'll focus, why won't it focus? Okay, hopefully it is. Star Keeper, Cosmic Ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded. We've got number 2, communication with P. And finally we've got Numite and Black Dahlia, the void, ego shattering, soul fragments, emptying. Move those down a tiny bit. All right, what message am I getting for you, Pile 3, for your overarching energy in the month of June? The first message I'm getting is that you're going to feel very connected to your ancestors, your spirituality, other people, especially elders or those you look up to, but it could also be like the collective, the world as a whole. I feel this strong sense of altruism from you in the month of June. It's less about soul fragments and emptying, or even shattering per se, but more like this void space actually feels like very fertile and very peaceful. Like it feels like oneness. I see you or feel you kind of connected to all that is. And you do feel very grounded. Like you feel like you have some sense of cosmic or spiritual connection going on, and you feel very grounded. And what that feels to me like is that you're able to then communicate from that place. It doesn't have to be that you're communicating about that, although certainly it could be. But it feels like whatever communication you have, it is very grounded, it is very soulful. Again, with whatever level of, to whatever extent you are, why is this hard to say? It feels very cosmic, and I'm struggling to stay grounded. That might not be obvious to other people or even to you, I think is what I want to say. And I do think it'll be coming from this place. I also do feel like you're going to be getting messages. So I don't know whether you're somebody who already feels like you have connection to spirits or ancestors or deities or whatever it is for you, but I think that's something that you'll feel. If that's not something that you directly experience, you might be seeing more synchronicities, but I'm getting that less so. And it could also be, as I was saying, like with this heart healing space, it could also be from your own higher self, from your own heart space, from your own compassion. You could just feel like the communication is flowing for you there. It feels very, very, very internally harmonious. And so like you're holding a sense of harmony in the midst of whatever chaos is going on around you. It might also be this suggestion when and if you feel overwhelmed by the chaos around you and things like that, to go inward and listen to yourself, your heart, your higher self, your guides, whatever it is, but like pull back from the world. And that might be some of this like void is just encouragement in the month of June to do that. And maybe you'll already be doing that. I said encouragement and then I kind of paused because this is supposed to be your overarching energy predicted. So maybe that's what you will already be feeling like you want to do, or something you're already starting to do now. But basically to go inside yourself and know that anything you need to know and the place that is going to ground you and make you feel like you don't have to worry, you don't have to be anxious, right? Like you don't have to be afraid of or overwhelmed by whatever is going on externally. Not to shame you for having those feelings, right? But you don't have to stay in those feelings. You can feel them and let them move and then do what you need to do to take care of yourself, which I think will be probably taking that time alone and really listening to what feels best for you. Yeah. Okay. So we are going to find out which areas of life the tarot wants to speak to you about today by rolling this 12-sided die to get a sense of which astrological houses it would be best for you to get messages about today. So for those who aren't familiar, signs are like a more common thing to talk about in astrology, and the signs tend to be energies, personality traits, things like that. They're kind of the reasons behind or the motivations behind why we do things. The houses, on the other hand, are the things we're doing, right? Like the areas of life in which action happens. So that's what we're going to look at to get some predictions for June. So let's go ahead and see what houses help you the most to hear about. We got 5, 3, and 7. Okay. So I've got a different tarot deck for each. So let's start with number 5. Give me a second to shuffle and then we'll talk a bit about what the 5th house is associated with. So I think that the 5th house is very associated with what I was saying with this candle a little bit, or at least I'm feeling that association here. So the 5th house tends to be the house of fun, of love affairs, of children, of performance, of humor and risk and indulgence, crafts, all kinds of things like that. Anything you can do to recreate, if you will, more joy in your life. So the question I had here is, what is most likely to recreate joy for you? So for pile number 3, we have the 10 of Pentacles and the 5 of Swords. This also was the first card that came out for pile 1. I don't know if you're drawn to pile 1, but maybe you are, but I will let it go for now. So what's happening here? What is most likely to, or what is likely to recreate the most joy for you? This is so interesting because these energies feel so opposite, right? The 10 of Pentacles and the 5 of Swords. Goodness. I'm getting the message that this 5 of Swords energy is in the past. And like there's a new dawn here. I know we're not answering the question yet, but I've got to just go with what I'm seeing. For those who aren't familiar, the 5 of Swords can sometimes be that you are frustrated in a disagreement and really needing to win, or for your truth to be the truest truth, if you will, and possibly harming other people in the process of really just kind of buckling down and insisting that you're right. It can also be that that has happened to you with somebody that's meaningful in your life. This also can be something that happens inside of yourself, right? Where like in trying to cling to particular stories, and often that's subconscious, we can like not listen to other parts of ourselves, and those parts end up feeling, you know, hurt, unheard, whatever that is. What I keep seeing when I look at this image are these swords falling, and like there are 3 of them that are falling. It feels like a strong decision to release heartbreak from the past. And it feels like this really opens up space for joy for you. So with this question is what is most likely to recreate joy in your life in the month of June, typically that would be kind of like, where are you going to have fun? Things like that. And I think that that answer might come here more with the 10 of Pentacles, but let's look at that in a second. I think the biggest thing for you actually that will bring joy is doing whatever you can to heal this heartbreak. So maybe that's where you've already been, but I think that's happening even more so for you. But it feels like a sense of release. Like I certainly am not getting the message that you're going to be heartbroken in June, although if that happens, I'm sorry. I'm sending you huge, huge hugs and love. But that's not the message that I'm getting. The message I'm getting is actually what June is presenting for you is an opportunity to release whatever pain you had. And I know it's swords, and so that could be like a mental thing, but it actually feels less mental to me. Like it's not like you're making a decision per se to do it, or you might say, okay, I'm going to make a decision to do this, but then the way that you're going to do it is by having fun and experiencing joy. So I think the strongest message here is, if you've been in a space where you're doing heart healing in a more mental or emotional sense, like therapeutically or journaling or something like that, I mean, obviously keep up whatever methods and routines help you, but I think there would be a little bit less focus on the specifics and the stories and the beliefs, and a little bit more focus on putting them down and choosing to just have a good time and laugh a little and have a little fun. Now I'm getting at least 2 different messages here from this 10 of Pentacles. One of them is, I'm wondering whether some of this pain from the 5 of Swords, of course it could be repeated in other situations throughout your life, but I'm wondering whether it's something that stems from childhood. Like this is just making me think of like childhood or family of origin. And I don't think that's, you need to necessarily do anything with that. I think it's more so here just to say like, hey, we see you. This is big stuff to heal, big stuff to let go, and really allowing yourself to feel joy, to fill your heart with something else that you know, should have had as a child. That's something that you can now give to yourself. The other message I am getting that's less about this image of this like happy, relaxed family here, and more just to do with the way many people often interpret the 10 of Pentacles, is to say I do think there might well be some career success for you in the month of June. Not necessarily related to the 5th house, although if you're performing, you might be making money from doing that in the month of June. I'm not necessarily predicting some giant lottery win or like the traditional 10 of Pentacles, like legacy style wealth going on here, although of course it could be. If that resonates, please take that message. But I'm more so just seeing like you feeling really successful, even though it's obviously not here. Like I'm feeling 6 of Wands energy with that kind of like, hey, I'm coming out ahead, I'm being celebrated, I'm being rewarded, right? That's what this feels like. So is that like something that will recreate joy for you? I mean, maybe. I wonder whether it's a suggestion to celebrate that. If that does come for you, let your friends tell you how amazing you are. Let them take you out for dinner. Have a toast to your success. I definitely think that's something that might bring you a lot of joy in the month of June. Is there anything else for pile 3? The last message I'm getting is just getting outside. I think whether that's like sitting on your back porch, on your front porch, whether that's doing gardening, whether that's going on hikes, but it feels like connection to nature to me. And it feels like walking slowly, smelling the roses, if you will, appreciating the sunrise or the sunset, that kind of thing. Like it feels very like slow and intentional and appreciative and just sort of lost in the enjoyment of being out in nature and reconnecting with it and with yourself. So yeah, I think those are the things that are likely to bring you the most joy in the month of June. So let's move on and talk about the 3rd house. Again, I'm going to shuffle and then we'll say more about what the 3rd house is about. Okay. So the 3rd house in astrology, typically related to Gemini, which we just entered Gemini season. So there's that for anybody who's more familiar with that energy. But it is often the sign of perception, of communication, of media, of learning and teaching, reading, writing, whatever it is. Often a fascination with language, of connecting with others. There is often a sense of surprise driven by immense curiosity. So there's this like non-judgmental, I just want to know more and more and more about different things, and that often leads you to a space of surprise. So the question that I had for you for the month of June is, what is most likely to surprise you this month? So we've got the Prince of Discs, which I take to be the Knight of Pentacles, with the keyword reliability, and also the 10 of Cups with harmony. Beautiful. I mean, if we take these words like straight up, reliability and harmony, I mean, I think what's most likely to surprise you this month is reliable harmony, which, listen, I would wish that on all humans if I could. I mean, if it was in their highest good, I know we sometimes have to go through hard things and heal, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. 10 of Cups for all. That's my wish. But anyway, what's most likely to surprise you? When I saw this reliability, it sort of made me laugh because it felt like opposite to the energy of surprise. But then I saw it with the harmony and I was like, oh, okay, I see. One thing that might surprise you is if you have had your head down about anything, whether that's at work, whether that's with healing, whether that's caring for yourself or others, whether that's some project you're kind of doing on your own or your health or anything. If you've had your head down on something, you've just been trying to get it done, one foot in front of the other, I think one thing that will surprise you is that you're kind of able to look up in the month of June and experience a whole lot of joy. That might be alone, but I really see you surrounded by others. That could certainly be family. So if you're planning family time and you have family that you feel harmony with, please take that. If love is something you, like if you're currently in a relationship or pursuing that or dating somebody, I definitely see that as a possibility as well. If you're just getting to know somebody, I see that here too. It might not be this like full-blown 10 of Cups harmony, but I see you having a really nice time, whether that relationship lasts or not, but like really getting to enjoy nature, for example, with this other person, or, you know, just slowing down a little bit and relaxing, sharing emotionally, feeling safe to do so. I definitely also see energy with friends, and that could be big groups of friends, or that could be close friends. I honestly see both, and it might be both for each person listening to this, and it might be like some gravitate more towards one of those messages than the other. But I wonder whether too, like, you're going to spend more time with friends and loved ones in the month of June than you're currently expecting. Like, I almost feel like this reliability is telling me what you've been doing or will be doing, which is, again, sort of keeping your head down. And this harmony is showing me what the surprise is. It's like, because you have your head down, because you're just trying to get through something and get it done, you'll be surprised by how much fun you're having, how much harmony, how much there is to celebrate. And I can't shake this like deep sense of peace and enjoyment, and it feels celebratory, but it also feels really grounded. Like, I'm actually going back to this initial energy we saw up here of this like state where you feel so whole and connected and right and grounded in yourself, that really allows you to relax and enjoy time with others, maybe in a different way than you have before. I'm getting this sense that you have, like, you've taken the time to really get to know what's yours and what's not. You've built and set really healthy and beautiful boundaries for yourself. And it's possible that those boundaries have been really strong. Your walls have been really high, and they needed to be because you were doing healing work. If that doesn't resonate, don't worry about it. But I do see that for some of you, that's probably been true. And something that's going to surprise you in June is, it could be that like you can let some of those walls down and have a nice time. But actually, I think what might surprise you is how much fun you're able to have and how well you're able to connect with people with your boundaries fully in place. If you're not ready to, I mean, obviously do whatever feels right to you, but if you're not ready to like really open up and take a risk and be deeply vulnerable with anyone, that's fine. You might be, but that's not necessarily what I'm seeing here. What I'm seeing here is you being surprised by what a good time you can have, even though you're maybe not ready to fully come out of your shell. Yeah. I also just wonder whether part of the surprise is, you know, I was talking about stopping and smelling the roses. I think the final message here is how much you might be surprised by how much harmony you feel and how much peace and how much joy by just stopping and smelling the roses, by getting a hug from a dear friend or family member, by just letting yourself sit in a moment of joy despite what else is going on around you, inside of you. Yeah, the world can be a really hard place on a lot of different levels, and I see you surprised and honestly, like, I'm getting emotional, like almost moved to tears by how good it feels to just sit on the porch with your best friend that maybe you haven't seen in a while or something like that, and just be at peace and at joy, even if it's for 10 minutes with somebody that you love. I think that's part of the surprise here, and maybe the biggest surprise here, that you can really deeply replenish your heart from moments like this. I just saw 25 on the camera timer, in case that's meaningful to anybody. Okay, so last we've got the 7th house. And the 7th house, actually, hold on, let me just shuffle. So the seventh house is about, like, it's traditionally called the house of marriage. But essentially what it's about is finding people who you are just unexplainably drawn to, who you feel like you see to be an equal, who you can understand where there are just things that each of us is sort of unable to see, and we need other people around us who we trust to help complete our vision of the world, right? Like, not to complete us in some problematic way, but to help us see the world in different ways. To partner with us in that way. And really, we trust them in part because it's somebody we are willing to have an open-ended relationship with, right? So that could be somebody where you say, okay, you know what, like, I love you, I want to be with you for the rest of my life. And it could also be like those friends that you expect to have around for a lifetime, right? But essentially anybody who you're invested with on that level, who you've chosen, right? This is not like the family that you're born into necessarily, unless you've built this relationship with them. But this is more so your people, your very, very closest friends or romantic partner or partners that you share this sense of magic and commitment on whatever level with, to help each other over the course of your lives. So the question that I have for the seventh house for the month of June for you is, what significant person or people are about to enter your life? So let's go ahead and see what we've got for you here. We've got the Death card and the Ace of Pentacles. Again, I really think I got the Ace of Pentacles in the exact same position in pile 1. That's wild. Okay, anyway. What do we have here? What's about to enter your life? Okay, sorry about that, pile 3. Right as I put these cards down, of course, there are lots and lots and lots of noises outside, upstairs, all kinds of stuff going on. So that's interesting. It felt like interruptions. It felt distracting. And I'm sharing that in case that has been going on for you. So whether that's like in friendships, in your love life, if it feels like there have been distractions, there have been interruptions, that definitely was reflected here. And honestly, with the message I'm getting from these cards, that makes a lot of sense. So let me try to break this down depending on what your situation is. First, a message that was clear here to me. If and only if there is somebody from your past who you feel like you have a connection to, that you still love, it was not toxic, it was just not the right time, and you've been doing deep healing around that, and you're open to still having them come back into your life. Only if that's true. I definitely see that transformation fully taking place in the month of June, and a new beginning with the potential for something long-lasting coming in. All right, there was a bunch more noise again right after I said that. And a message that I got about that is you might be feeling a lot of doubt. And if that's true, that's okay. That's not at all to like call you out or shame you or anything. But it is to say, keep allowing yourself to transform, to surrender to the divine and all of those things. And let whatever unfold as the gift that it's meant to. Like, I really see the divine trying to say to you, hey, let's start this again on new, solid footing with the potential for things to be really good, really sound, really long-lasting. And so the more that you can surrender any of your anxiety, the better here. For those of you who are already in a relationship, and perhaps this would be more about like a friend coming into your life or something like that, I get the sense that the person coming into your life either is somebody who you are going to be able to like deeply connect with emotionally, like you guys have either similar past wounds or past stories or experiences, and or you have similar levels of tolerance for talking about really deep things. And I see you possibly meeting this person through doing something new that's meaningful to you. So taking a new course, going to a new gym or a new grocery store or coffee shop or whatever it is, but doing something that feels new but also feels grounded, feels like nourishment to yourself on whatever level, and then getting to know somebody there. It also could be that it's less that that person or that your connection has this like quality of depth to it, although it could, and certainly if there's somebody who is going to be really important in your life, I think it in some sense will. But it also could be that whatever transformative work you've done has allowed you to be interested in something brand new, or to go somewhere new, move somewhere new, whatever it is. And because of that change, that transformation in you, you meet people who like better align with this new and more aligned version of you. So that's really exciting either way, for a friend coming into your life. If you're looking for a potential romantic partner, I think really similar things fit as for what I said about those like with a friend coming into their life. But I do think there's this like extra message, if it is like in a romantic sense, of this person really being outside of what you expected, whether that's like your quote unquote usual type or something like that. Whether it's somebody that you already know and the relationship itself is transforming now because they're no longer your friend or your acquaintance, they're like somebody that you're dating. But there's some way in which you're going to feel thrown off or outside of your comfort zone, or something is transforming, something is falling away, to have this potential for a solid new beginning. Also with the Death card, there's often this sense of loss that a lot of people, myself included, try to gloss over. And that's coming through here not because I think like in the 7th house area you're going to necessarily lose anything. I'm seeing it very much in the ego death sense. So something that could be coming in during the month of June for you is like this interesting feeling of a little bit of a loss of ego identity. And that could be comfortable or uncomfortable depending on you, depending on the moment, right? But I do get this sense that it's like, to be honest, it doesn't feel heavy to me. I mean, of course it might be, and again, moment to moment, it depends, right? At least for me. But I get this sense that what's happening for you in the month of June might well be this falling away, and that might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's gonna really quickly be filled with this sense that that in and of itself is allowing for new possibility. So that might well be true regardless of your current relationship status, but I'm especially getting that if you're looking towards meeting somebody new or entering a new relationship, that really like that's possible as you release and surrender. And this isn't like parts of you that you want to keep, right? The things that have been keeping you from your most authentic self. The things that you recognize have held you back in previous relationships. Whatever it is you've done, like healing around, heart healing, the childhood wounding, whatever that is, I think as you surrender the habits, the ways of communicating, the impulses that you know are associated with those things that have gotten you maybe not what you wanted in a romantic relationship in the past, I think that what you're seeing in the month of June is perhaps some discomfort as you learn to be different, but also that allows for, whether that's a brand new person and you actually meet somebody that you're going to have a long-lasting relationship with, or at least the potential for that, or whether that's just you starting brand new. And I just saw 2222 on the camera timer, so that's beautiful confirmation of having the potential to meet somebody who mirrors you, a potential long-term partner. But it also could just be getting out there, starting to date again if that's something you haven't been doing, or just meeting new people that give you hope for that potential to come. So regardless, I will say your romantic life or very close friendship life feels intense in the month of June, but not in a bad way, at least to me as I'm sitting in it. Again, I'm still sitting in this like overarching energy you had here of feeling really grounded in a very deep way inside of yourself. And actually it's funny, my eye just went back up to this like ego shattering keywords on this initial card we had here, and thinking about the death card, that really matches well right underneath there. So I do think there will be this space where you pause probably and listen more so, pull back, listen to your inner guidance and say, okay, hold on, this is what I'm feeling like I typically would do or would want to do, or this is, the way my emotions are getting triggered right now. Let me pause and think about how I want to show up instead. And I see that really creating a solid foundation for you in this sense. So again, it feels intense, but it feels like, first of all, something you're ready for. And second of all, strangely grounded and calm. I think you've really built up this skill set to be able to do this. So that's beautiful. Let's go ahead and end with a super attractor card. And these are just oracle cards with little messages to help encourage you to stay aligned, to know the universe is acting on your behalf in the month of June. So what do we have? We've got spiritual alignment puts my manifestation into motion. Beautiful. That's exactly, that exactly matches, right? Like this energy here absolutely feels like spiritual alignment. And so I think it might be intense and it might surprise you. All of the things that happen for you. Again, a lot of success, joy, celebration, time in nature, transformation in relationships. There might be a lot happening and a lot coming in the month of June, but overall it feels exciting, more joyful than you're used to, probably in a surprising way. It feels like the sun is coming back out. It feels like the dawn of a new day. It feels like there will be much to celebrate for you. And you will be able to get through it because you have this deep sense of alignment within yourself and with the universe. So pile 3, those are all of the messages that I have for you today. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you and for listening. If you enjoyed and you would like to like, comment, subscribe, whatever pleases you, that would be delightful. I really appreciate it. But regardless, I hope you have a wonderful June. I hope you take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.